If you ever call yourself saying something in Spanish like estoy llegando mañana and wonder why people gave you that funny look, this video is for you. Today, you're going to learn how to form the present progressive. You're going to learn the do's and don'ts of this tense, and I'm going to share with you some advanced structures to improve your fluency so you can speak like a native speaker. So to start, I want to show you how the Spanish present progressive works in context through this masterpiece that I wrote. Try to pay attention to the patterns and pay attention to the verbs that I highlighted. Okay, let's start. María y su mamá están en el aeropuerto esperando su próximo vuelo. Aunque tienen mucho tiempo, ellas están leyendo en una cafetería porque afuera está nevando y haciendo mucho frío. Cuando no está durmiendo, su perro mira y le ladra a la gente. Yo los estoy viendo porque también estoy matando el tiempo para mi próximo vuelo. Okay, so we're going to take a couple of sentences from this masterpiece that I wrote so we can start learning how to use the present progressive. The first one, María, su mamá y yo estamos en el aeropuerto esperando nuestro vuelo. Maria, her mom, and I are at the airport waiting for our flight. The next one. Afuera está nevando y haciendo frío. It's snowing and cold outside. Ellas están leyendo. If you take a few seconds to analyze these statements, you are going to notice that these sentences are talking about actions that are happening right now. Right now, we are waiting for our flight. Right now, it's snowing and being cold outside. And this is the first use of the present progressive, to express actions that are happening right now. Ahorita estamos aprendiendo el presente progresivo. However, in Spanish, we also use the present progressive tense to talk about ongoing actions. Actions that are still current at the moment of speaking. I'm going to show you some examples and I want you to check the difference between these sentences and the masterpiece that I show you. ¿Todavía estás trabajando con Laura? Are you still working with Laura? Carlos todavía está durmiendo. Check that with these sentences, I'm talking about actions that are current. At some point in the past, you started working with Laura and you're still working with her. In Spanish, we're using the word todavía to add some emphasis to that continuity in the actions. Okay, so now that you know the two uses of the present progressive, how are you going to form it? You need two elements. The first one, the verb estar, and the second one, a gerund. We are going to start with the verb estar. To form the present progressive, well, you need to conjugate estar in the present. Estar is going to refer to the subject. In other words, it's going to tell you who is performing the action. What about the gerund? You are going to use the gerund to express the action, to say what's happening. And to form gerunds in Spanish, we have two endings. One for AR verbs and another one for ER and IR verbs. Let me show you how you're going to form these words. We're going to start with hablar. So I'm going to go and delete the AR infinitive ending and I'm going to use the ending ando. So hablar becomes hablando. The ending for ER and IR verbs is yendo. So comer is going to become comiendo. What about divertir? Divertir, I'm going to delete the infinitive ending and add the gerund ending and it's going to become divirtiendo. I want you to check the next verb because this one is a little bit special. If you pay attention to hablar, after I delete the infinitive ending, my stem ends with a consonant, L. However, take leer as an example. When I delete the infinitive ending, my stem ends with a vowel. So in this case, for pronunciation purposes, I need to do something to my ending. And what I'm going to do is to use the letter Y. So leer is going to become leyendo. You are going to do this to every single verb whose stem ends in a vowel. For example, oír, oyendo, ir, yendo. Okay, so now let me give you some additional examples so you can check the conjugations of the present progressive, but also its uses. Últimamente me estoy despertando muy temprano. The next one. ¿Qué estás haciendo? What are you doing? Estamos esperándote. We are waiting for you. ¿Qué están tratando de decir? No entiendo. I don't understand what they're trying to say. I want you to go back and look at example number 1 and example number 3. Últimamente me estoy despertando muy temprano y estamos esperándote. These examples over here are working with pronouns. And over here, I'm going to have two options. I either place my pronoun before start, últimamente me estoy despertando, or I'm going to attach it to the gerund. Estamos esperándote. This rule is something that you need to keep in mind when using object pronouns such as reflexives, direct or indirect object pronouns. Okay, so now that you have learned how to use and how to conjugate the present progressive, I have a tricky question for you. How will you say, we are arriving at 8? Did you say, estamos llegando a las 8? That's incorrect. In Spanish, remember, we're using the present progressive to talk about actions that are either relevant or that express that the action is happening at the moment of speaking. In this case, estamos llegando a las 8. A las 8, this time marker is referring to an action that is going to happen in the future. It's not happening right now. It's going to happen at some point. Well, we know it's going to happen at 8. Okay, so if you're not allowed to use the present progressive to say we are arriving at 8, how will we say this in Spanish? You have two options. You either use the present, llegamos a las 8, if this information is a fact and you're actually going to be arriving at 8, or you're going to use the near future to express future intentions. Vamos a llegar a las 8. We're going to try to arrive at 8, but who knows? Let's go check the next example. Estoy viajando a México el próximo mes. Is this correct or incorrect? Perfect. This is incorrect because again, in Spanish, we cannot use the present progressive to talk about future actions. In this case, we need to say, voy a viajar a México el próximo mes. I'm using the near future to talk about a future plan. This is one of the mistakes a lot of people make when using the present progressive, and you need to avoid it. Okay, so what about the advanced structures that I promised you at the beginning of this video? You already learned that in Spanish, we use estar plus a gerund to talk about actions that are happening right now. Right now, estamos aprendiendo el presente progresivo. Tú estás viendo este video. You can also use llevar plus a gerund to talk about the duration of an action. In other words, to express for how long you or someone else have been doing something. For instance, llevo esperándote toda la mañana. I have been waiting for you all morning. The next advanced structure you want to use is seguir plus a gerund. And you are going to use this structure to express that a past action still continues in the present. For example, ¿sigues viviendo por el centro? Are you still living downtown? Okay, so now that you know when and when not to use the present progressive and you know how to form it, I have a little challenge for you. I'm going to give you these incomplete sentences and your job is to pause the video and complete these sentences by conjugating the verb in parentheses. Be careful because I might have not included some tricky questions to test if you know when not to use the present progressive. So make sure you take your time, check the context, and choose the tense that you need to use. You can leave me your answers in the comments and I'm going to give you feedback. Para practicar, to start practicing your listening skills, you can go check this same lesson in my Spanish immersion channel. I'm also going to leave you a link in the description so you can check more examples using the present progressive so you get familiar with this tense. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, it would really help me if you can hit the like button. I hope to see you soon. Bye!